Hello and welcome. I'm Cindy. Good to have you. We're going to be doing some stretching today. I'm subbing for Colby today. Great to have you. We're going to start on our feet and hopefully you have a yoga mat handy. As we get deeper into our stretching and our practice, reclining, we'll be using a strap as well. I like to use a scarf. And I also have a couple props here. I have blocks and also a bolster. If that's something you're accustomed to using, I'll be offering some variations so that those things will come in handy. Let's begin by separating our feet a nice comfortable width apart. This is called horse stance. So I'll show you how to get into horse stance. It's really pretty practical and kind of an easy way to remember. We bring our feet together to start, and we externally rotate our hips, keeping our heels together. Then lift on the toes, externally rotate the heels so the hips internally rotate, and then bring the feet parallel and sink into those knees nice and comfortably. This is your horse stance. Then we'll roll our shoulders back a few times, opening up the chest and the heart, and we're going to start with something called spinal breathing. This will really help open up the channels of energy and breath and circulation. Let your hands sleep down into the thighs and wake up into the hips. Sleep down, outer thigh, up, inner thigh into the hips, and we'll bring the arms in circles up a little higher now, all the way up and back into like goalpost arms, but our intention is more on the space between the shoulder blades, pinching as the spine opens up in the front. We look up, that breath is in, and then as we exhale, we collapse everything in, rounding the spine, dropping down and letting gravity take you to earth. And then inhale, open, reach, and exhale, bend, fold, and collapse. Completely let all the breath out. Exhale a little more. And inhale, rising, lifting, stretching the front of the spine in extension. And exhale, folding, rounding, sinking. And feeling a stretch in the back of the spine. Inhale, let's do this 2 more times. Think about more fluid running up and down the spine as we open the channels along the spine. Exhaling forward and inhaling back. Hey, Deborah, welcome. Let me put myself here in a position where you can see my screen better. I'm subbing today for Colby. Glad to have you. There we go. So we're just starting with some spinal breathing. Our intention is to open the front of the spine, inhale, and exhale, rounding and contracting into the core, stretching the back of the spine, opening up. And then we'll relax the arms next to the sides. Good, and begin to shift your weight from one leg to another, feeling the weight shift, supported by the leg that we're leaning into, but still maintaining a reach into the outside of the foot. So we get that stretch down the leg, start warming up the hips, and then moving in hip circles here to bring some spiral energy up the legs into the hips, drawing circulation into these joints. Good, in reverse direction. Great, it was so fun to see you on the trail the other day. Good to see you out being active. We're so lucky to be surrounded by nature here. Let's bring ourselves into neutral position. Let your hands rest on your thighs as you sink down. Splay the knees out. So as we sink, we expand the knees wide, keep them protected. And we'll go into a gentle twist for the spine, dropping shoulder to knee, turn and look back. Come up on the inhale, rising up out of the legs, back to neutral spine, and then exhale, sink back into the legs, and then twist. Opposite direction, make sure the gaze comes back as far as you can do comfortably this first time, and then we'll take it a little deeper on each side now. Exhale, sink, expand, drop, and twist. Feel rooted and supported in the lower body. leveraging now these movements in opposing directions. So as we sink, expand, we press into the inner thigh and then move in the opposite direction, creating a little more space to lengthen into, and then come back to center. Inhale and bring the arms overhead, palms together, and exhale, sink the legs. Bring your hands down into your heart space, interlace your fingers, push the heels of the hands down, straighten the legs, and bring the arms forward towards me. Up and over the head, stretch, and then over towards the window side of the room. We're going to call this the window side of the room for today's class. And then back up, inhale, and over to closet side of the room, even though you can't see it, I promise you it's there. And back up into the center and exhale, big circle as we reach down and touch the earth, palms to the floor, lengthen the back of the legs, look down and through the legs. Good. Go ahead and again, shift our weight from one leg to another, start warming up the legs. We want to bring some blood flow down into the legs. Most of our blood flow stays circulating into the torso. We're going to call it out into the arms and legs, and then do our stretching. Great, and then come on up, slowly bringing the hands up under the shoulders and let them dangle for a moment here, just taking and dissolving any stress in the shoulders by circling the arms. Bending the knees as we rise to support the back. Keep circling the arms up and over the head. Interlace the fingers, push the heels of the hands up, and then bring the hands behind the head. Support the back of the head as you lean your head into your hands. Push your elbows back. Good. Stretching the front. Now push out through the heels of the hands. And we're going to rotate through the wrist and start moving some fluid into the hands. Lowering the arms as you do. And then shaking out the hands. Good. Bounce a little in the knees. We're going to add some shaking and a little twisting as we shake, just to loosen up the joints. It's called opening the gates of the body. 9 gates. The legs and the arms and the spine. And then we'll pause for a moment and then just check in and see if you don't feel a little bit more aliveness in the body, particularly in the hands. I want to give you a little bit of an example of how this is working. We're going to squeeze our fist, create a fist, curl your fingers in, take your thumb into the center digit, squeeze, turn the hands down, push the arms back, look up, and then lift the arms but keep them tense. Bend the elbows, push out, keep tensing the arms, bring them back. And now as you bring your hands to your face, open your palms and look. They're going to be white and they'll quickly turn pink. And that's a sign that circulation is moving in to the hands very quickly, which is what we want as we begin. We'll take the arms out to the side and again, shift our weight into the leg closest to the window as we pick up the toe and turn in the direction of the closet and come to a lunge. We'll go ahead and fold in and just reach up, circulating, movement into the wrist again, reverse direction. And take the hand behind the head, pull that shoulder back, pull the elbow back, straighten the leg. Good, and then lift that arm and come up and reach back. Drop the arm. And then bring the hands into the center. And we'll switch sides. Moving in the direction, take a lunge. Soften the shoulders. Rest the hand on the thigh. We'll come up, look up, rotating the wrist. Reverse direction. Good. Take the hand behind the head. Pulling that shoulder and that elbow back, look up. Straighten the front leg. Good. Lift that arm and reach back. Drop the arm. Come back to the center, bringing the feet parallel and bring the hands down next to the side. One more time, sink into the knees and the hips and rotate. Feeling the body nice and warmed up. We're going to move into some more mat work in just a moment. We're going to bring ourselves back into that twist and just feel the difference here. Maybe a little bit more open than before. That's it. And come on up. And we'll step our feet together. Let's face the direction of the closet for this. And your feet are together at the front edge of the mat. Draw a breath in and reach the arms up. Look up. And lean back a little bit if that's supported for you. Exhale, fold forward. Hinging from the hips. Lengthen the spine, fold forward. Draw the head down. Look back at the knees. You can bend your knees for this to modify. In fact, we'll bend our knees and straighten our legs a couple times just to introduce ourselves to the length that's wanting to emerge from underneath that tight stiffness that we're first encountering here. We'll give our body a chance to embrace the challenge slowly, and then stepping the feet back. Come to a plank position. Hold your plank position, or not. You can bring your knees to the mat and hold it as a modification. Choose your position, the one that supports you, and then we'll move into our child pose stretch. Feeling the length of the spine now, reaching in both directions. Breathe through the nose into the upper back and feel an expansion between each rib cage, stretching our intercostals. Use your exhale to engage your core and lift your navel to your spine. Stay active at your core, building some heat in the body. And we'll rise onto all fours and go into a cat stretch, rounding the spine. Now think about gravity here. As we come into our cat stretch, we're pouring the blood flow into the arms and legs, all the blood that likes to accumulate in the torso. And then we're pumping that pelvis, tilting pelvis forward, shoulders up and hips back, and then exhale, tucking under, pouring circulation into the legs and arms. Good, feeling that one more time. Inhale, moving cerebral spinal fluid along the spine. Great, now come into a neutral spine. Let's go forward with this by extending the leg closest to me, back, and tucking the toes. Pushing into that heel and feeling a nice calf stretch on that side. And then taking the opposite arm and lifting it up at an angle. So you're reaching up through the fingertips, down through the heel, and creating a nice angle across the body here. Lift your navel to your core, and then bring your body parallel to the floor. So you're lifting the leg and lowering the arm so that you're parallel. And then we'll add one more level of challenge to this for those who want it. Rotate your wrist and ankle. This will challenge the brain. Communicating, reverse direction between the left and right hemisphere of the brain. Great, now drop the foot, tuck the toes, push back into that heel. Use that arm that's resting on the floor to push into that space, and then lift the opposite arm and twist, look up. Rotating back and open. In the shoulder, feel a nice anterior stretch. In the neck, as you rotate the gaze upward, feel a nice twisting of the spine into that flexibility. And exhale, we're going to scoop under and twist in the opposite direction, scooping deeply through and under. Good. If you want a little extra challenge here for balance, go ahead and pick the foot up, lift the leg parallel to the hip. See if you can hold this without tipping over. And it's okay if you do tip over. It's actually kind of fun just to take it to the edge and see. Now you can, if you're up here with the leg lifted, you can Rise up and keep the leg lifted, or drop the foot and then rise. Come on up. That's the way, and then drop the toe. Now, pushing back, this time, use both arms, push into the mat, lift that knee, and then push into the top of that foot, stretching the top of the foot. Good. And then come forward, down into the knee. Keep bringing the hips down and forward and come right into an upward dog. And then tuck the toes and exhale, go into a downward facing dog. Good, let's do that again. Bringing same knee to the floor. Push back, stretch the calf. Top of the toes, top of the foot to the mat on that bent knee, and then lift the knee, but push down into the foot. Stretch the top of the foot, and then push up all the way, and lift that leg up into 3-point pose. Really feeling the stretch down in the calf. Now bend the knee, bring it to the chest, and press up with that foot, and open the hip, turning and opening. And then releasing the leg, neutral spine, come into plank on one leg, or not, come down to the knee and rest on that one leg. And then lower back into a prone position. Let the arms rest back next to the side. Lift the legs, lift the arms. Stretching the front body, compressing the low back. And let the hands come up under the shoulders. One more time, either a little minor cobra stretch here or a full cobra. And releasing the lumbar spine, stretching hips to heels. Go back into child pose. Come on up to seated. Wonderful. If you're doing well, shift your hips back. Bring your knees forward. Great. Now let's bring ourselves into a straddle position. We'll do this forward fold and then go to the other side. Sitting up nice and tall. If you'd like to, you can use props to elevate the hips if that's supported. And then bring yourself forward. Sit back a little so you can see. Bring yourself forward, flexing those feet, keep the legs active. If you can maintain a nice flat back, that's great. You can use your hands to support yourself here by propping up on those elbows or fully extending the arms. And then using your core strength to come up. You might notice a difference between one leg and the other. You might not. Draw your knees together and we'll go ahead and move to the other side. Stack the knees, turn on over onto all fours as we did before. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. We'll go back into our cat stretch, rounding out the spine and reversing direction. Let's add a nice, fun, playful stretch that feels good here called wagging the dog's tail. We'll shift our hips to one side of the mat and our shoulders to the other. So moving in opposing directions with upper and lower body, and then glide the shoulders to the other side of the mat and the hips likewise, going in opposite directions, shifting side to side, seeing that spine move in and out of an S shape. Back to the center, realigning the spine and cat, reversing in cow. And finding neutral spine, draw your navel up into your spine. Good. And again, extend the leg closest to me, tuck the toes under, use the arms and leverage the strength of your upper body to push back into that heel. Feel a stretch in the calf and the Achilles. Good, sinking the weight into the knee on the mat. Let the arm on that side rise up into an angle. And then use your core, lifting navel to spine as you lift the back leg. So that core is what's supporting the weight as it's extending from the center in both directions. Add the rotation in the wrist and ankle, challenging the brain. Reverse direction. Great, lower the foot, lift the arm back into your angle, and take your angle into a twist, reaching up and back, look up. Twisting into a nice anterior shoulder stretch. Feel the crown of the head reaching forward, spiraling energy down through the sole of that back leg. And then exhale, twisting underneath, scooping under. Drop the shoulder to the floor, twist and look upward. Just let yourself breathe in a way that feels natural and supportive for you. And rising up, inhale. Again, if you wanted to, you could lift the leg, challenge yourself into balance. Tuck the toes and push back into that leg. Lift the knee and push into the top of the foot, the one resting on the mat. Hold the stretch. Relax the head, look back at the feet. And then inhale, come forward. All the way forward, straighten both legs and lower. Lift into upward facing dog or cobra. And again, come on to that knee furthest away from me. Lift up on the pad of the foot of the leg closest to me. Keep it straight and push back into the heel. Good. Straighten both legs, lift both hips, come into downward dog. Good, lowering into plank. Drop the knee furthest away from me. Shift the hips down and forward, come into an upward dog. Tuck the toes, exhale, come into a downward dog. Pressing out through the heels, alternating stretches through the calves now. Both sides should be nice and fully alivened. Good. Bend the knee to the floor, same side, come back into your plank one more time. Push back into the heel, stretch the calf. And then this time, lift the hips to down dog, extend the leg from the knee that was bent. Come into 3-point pose. Rotate the ankle. Bend the knee, bring it to the chest. Push the foot up. And stack the hips if you choose to. Turning and looking under the arm. Square the hips, straighten the legs. Come into one-legged plank. Or bring both legs to the floor. Or bring both knees to the floor to modify. Or one knee. Come down. Lowering down, we'll come into a cobra, little cobra, or big cobra, your choice. And sinking back into the hips for child pose to release that back. And to feel a little bit of heat maybe in the body from the efforting. Breathe through the nose into the upper back, maybe shift the hips from side to side. And then begin to stack yourself into a seated position. Come up. Bring your knees towards me. Set your hips back. We'll be bringing our knees forward, pointing towards the window side of the room. That'll just make it easier for reference. And then separate your knees so that your foot can rest on top of the opposite thigh. And we'll take our hand, push it down onto the knee as our other hand reaches and takes underneath that knee and begins to lift and lower. Just a little bit of movement here to begin with. This hand can come a little bit further back as we go into bigger movements, opening up the hip with a spiraling energy along the spine. So we're not just moving the hip open and close, we're letting that movement initiate from the hip, but moving all the way up and down the spine. One more time. Hold, and then extend that leg. We'll tuck the foot in, and then take your hand, reach it out, and press the inside of your hand to the inside, the outside of your hand to the inside of your shin, or if you can reach the ankle, draw the arm back the opposite direction, create a nice stretch across the chest, across the arms and ankle. And we'll lift up, look up, and exhale as we descend, trying to reach towards the toes. Keep that leg active, flex the foot. Draw the arm up. Good. And then bring the arm around. Take the opposite hand behind the back. We'll take this hand to the outside of the foot or the outside of the shin, your choice. Square the hips, inhale, look up. And then exhale, try to center your navel over the thigh as you fold forward. Inhale, coming up. Bring both hands back behind you. Interlace the fingers, draw the shoulders back, square the hips. Feel a nice chest expansion here. Bring the knee in, extend the leg out, bring your feet together. Let your hands rest to the floor as if you're propping your spine up into a nice flat back. Flexing those feet, keep them super active so the heels actually lift off the mat. Activating the quadriceps. Draw the arms out, lean back, tuck the navel, draw the knees in. Good, and one leg at a time, extend, lift, hold and balance, challenging the core, soften the shoulders, and bend that knee. Rest that foot, reach up, inhale, tuck the navel to the spine, roll back, drop the arms shoulder level, lift the heart, relax the shoulders, lift the opposite leg. And bring the knee to the chest and lower. Draw both arms overhead, both legs forward, inhale, and hinge forward, exhale, fold. And take those breaths deep through the nose, into the upper back, resting those shoulders as you exhale. Let everything be drawn deeper down towards the earth. Of course, you're welcome to use the strap for any of these stretches as well. I have one here, and I'll be using it a little bit more for myself personally when we recline into some leg work, but here you can also use your strap. And we'll use our core strength to rise up, lifting the spine, drawing ourselves back, and feeling ourselves lean back, challenging the core one more time before we move to the other side. Lifting the arms, bringing the knees in and folding the knees towards me, shifting and lifting the lower body, transferring the feet to the other side and stacking those knees the way we did before. So the sole of this forward leg is resting on top of the thigh of the opposite leg. Good. And we'll press down into the knee just to keep some support there for what we want to occur, is to stay rooted and grounded as this hand scoops under with the fingers, cupping that knee and creating just a little introduction to the hip movement here, lifting and lowering, like opening and closing the hinges on a gate. And then to add a little bit more range of motion, we'll take the hand back, twisting, looking back, and then rotating, leaning back and opening that hinge a little wider. Good. Called opening the gates. So we want to open the gates of the hips. As we age, the pathways for circulation to the legs start to become compromised. So this is one of the ways that we keep that pathway open. And it's gentle, which is what we also want as we're opening into new territory. Go ahead and extend the leg. Come up seated so your spine is straight. Take the hand and place the back of the hand to the inside of the shin. Flex that foot, keep the leg active. Draw the arm back, open up. Feel a nice stretch across the arms. Angling again. Lift the arm up, reach up. Feel the length of the torso. And we're going to do what's called thinning the skin. Thinning the skin on the side body as we reach across. For me, this is my left side, so I'm thinning the skin on the spleen pancreas side of the body, compressing the liver side. So I'm also bringing my attention not just to stretching my anatomy in terms of muscles and tendons, but also the internal organs are getting stretched. Bring the hand behind the head, push the elbow up and back, look up, coming on up, using the core oblique strength to lift. Now bring this hand behind the back, taking the back of the hand to the opposite kidney, reach around to the outside of the foot or shin, whichever you can reach, sit up tall, hinge forward, drawing the navel back, up and in towards the spine as you fold it over the thigh. Bringing the nose to the knee and drawing the breath into the back. Maybe feeling a nice, unique shoulder stretch here. And rising up, inhale, now the stretch, maybe noticing a little bit more calmness in the mind. Lift the arms up. Interlace the fingers, push up through the heels of the hands. Let's take a forward fold here too. It feels like a nice thing to do is to add that little extra. And rising up, inhale. Use your core strength to rise. Draw the knee in. Good. Extend both legs. Go ahead and situate yourself. Bring the hands behind the back, interlace the fingers, sit up tall in staff pose, flex the feet, activate the quadriceps. That's the way. Feel the crown of the head lifting, tailbone sinking, and as you actively work the legs, you feel as if the lower part of your legs are floating, lifting a little, even slightly. Release the arms, lift them overhead. Inhale, scoop your navel towards your spine, reach into your forward fold, using your strap if you'd like. Hinging forward, keep those legs active and see if you can lengthen into the spine, crown forward, tailbone back, soften the shoulders. I always get caught tensing the shoulders, catching myself over and over, compensating with my upper body here. All the burden of responsibility in the shoulders, see if we can melt it, breathing in and breathing out, intentionally letting go of shoulder tension, neck tension, upper body congestion. Inhale, lift. Good. Release the strap and hinging back. Bend the knees, circle around with the arms. Good, using the core strength here to stabilize. Lift one leg. Lean back a little more. Challenge your balance. Good, lift the arms, draw the knee to the chest. Release the foot. Lower the arms, scoop the arms forward, lift the leg, lean back. And just play here with different challenging positions to open up heat in the core. Draw the arms back out and overhead. And this time, bend the elbows, bring the hands down, palms up next to the hips, and send the legs up if you'd like. Reach around, grab a ball of energy around you and hold. Knees can be bent with the feet on the floor for this as well. And then we're going to migrate into our reclined position by rolling into our back and hugging our knees to our chest. Go ahead, and I'm going to adjust the camera just a little bit here. I think that'll be easier for you to see. So knees into our chest, giving a nice hug. And relaxing our body fully into the support beneath us. Just gently let your knees flow from side to side. And then let both knees roll all the way over and away from me. And then turn and gaze towards me. Get a nice reclined stretch here. Notice now as we draw the knees up into the chest, notice all the muscles working together to support that movement. And then circulate, move, and coordinate so that your knees can roll to the other side simultaneously. Move your gaze so there's no starting and no stopping. It's just this mobilization and stabilization from point A to point B. Resting here for a moment and letting things settle. Just allow the body weight to settle in to the support. And pull the knees up into the chest and lift back to center. Bring the feet to the floor, hip width apart. Great, and bring your arms next to your side. We'll move into some bridge work here to stretch the front side of the body, but we're also remembering that we're intentionally moving the concentration of blood flow and circulation from the torso into the arms and legs. This is another way to do that We first did it in our cat stretch. Now we'll do it here in bridge. Let's begin by pumping the pelvis, which means simply tipping it forward and back. Engaging one of the pumps in the body located in that pelvic bowl. Good. The 3 pumps of the body. This is one. The other one is in the calf muscles. When we contract and relax the calf muscles, it pumps the blood flow from the legs back to the heart. So let's add that one as we lift the heels, contract, and then lower the heels and relax, lift the toes. Push down into the pads of the feet, lift the heels, contract the calves, and then lower the heels, lift the toes. And then all together, lifting, contracting, calves, lifting pelvic bowl. Now let your heels softly drop, but keep the hips lifted. Let your hands come under the back, fingers interlaced if that's supported, elbows drawing towards each other, shoulders rolling under, holding bridge, and seeing the blood flow. Circulating through the body now as we turn things upside down. Feel a length in the front body, keeping an imaginary ball between the knees, squeezing on that ball. Lift the hips a little higher. And breathe a little deeper. Relax the arms and stretch them over the head. And slowly let your spine ride back down into that length, waiting for it. Drawing it a little longer than before. Let the knees find the hands at chest level. Scoop the knees in and feel the back lengthen. Circulate movements in the ankles. Reverse direction. And then find your strap. And we'll place it around both feet. Lifting the legs and turning things upside down so that all the blood flow that we've been moving into the legs was returning back into the pelvic bowl. Okay, so we're going to draw the legs back, rocking a little stretch into the low back. So release the legs, just a short range of motion, rocking back and forth in the pelvic tilt and feeling it move into the back of the legs. We'll flex the feet as we draw the toes back towards the nose and then point the toes as we reach them towards the floor. 2 more times. And let's hold right here. Let your arms relax, but hopefully you have a strap long enough to just relax the arms, holding on to the strap, but not using arm strength. This stretch is considered an inversion, so we're inverting, turning things upside down a little bit, going against the force of gravity and compression on the body as it's normally experienced. And we'll go ahead and straddle the legs and then draw back and feel a little bit different inner thigh activity and notice the sensation arising. Draw the feet in, shoulder width apart, and bend the knees, letting them land close towards the armpits here. And keep the soles of the feet reaching upward, like they're flat up against the ceiling. Try to flatten that sacrum into the mat. And then keeping your feet in the strap, bring the soles of the feet together. Draw the knees back towards the armpits. Pull the strap, the ends of the strap together. And then let your feet slowly come together, soles together, and lower the knife edge of the foot towards the floor, but keep them held in the strap so that your feet are hovering a few inches off the floor. And eventually landing on the floor. Let your hands rest on your inner thighs, gently rocking side to side, putting pressure on one leg and then the other, feeling a gentle rocking motion across the pelvis. And then draw the knees together. Extend just the right leg, keeping the foot in the strap. Lift it up. You're free to keep that left knee bent with the foot on the floor, sole down, or extend that leg straight, keeping the leg active. Let's do little leg circles here on this side, the right side, circling, reversing. And we'll go into a twist. Take the strap into the left hand and come across, extending the arm the opposite direction. Turn and look in the direction of the right hand. And then release the leg down where it's level with the opposite leg. And then back up. Into reclined stretch. Flex the foot. And then slowly release it over the right side. Keeping that left hip in position. Try to keep both legs active, meaning flexing the feet on both legs. And keeping the legs straight, let the foot slide back down to meet the other foot, and then draw the leg back to the starting position. And let's just externally rotate out to the right side enough to bend the knee back towards the armpit here in a one-leg happy baby. And resting that foot on top of the other thigh, we'll draw the knee to the chest, stretch. Recline, pigeon, stretch, feeling all the work in the leg now light up in sensation. Breathe with what's arising. Lower the foot on the left leg, straighten the right leg, lift and lower. A few more times, lift and lower. And one more time, lift and hold. And release. Colby, chest. Rotate both ankles, reversing direction, and then stepping in with the left foot. Drop the right foot, lift the left leg, and then begin to flex the foot on the left side, holding the strap in the left arm. Choose the position you want to work with your right leg, either knee bent or leg extended. Active leg, flexing and pointing foot on the left leg. Hold, recline leg stretch. One more full, slow breath. And then taking the strap into the right hand, guiding the left leg across. Feel that IT bend, stretch, hold halfway. Take a breath. Exhale, go further. And shift the gaze in the opposite direction. Keep both legs active. Bringing your attention back to sensation, whatever you're noticing and feeling that's alive in the moment. Then let your leg relax back down so the feet are coming back to each other. Square the pelvis, lift the leg back to reclined leg pose, hold. Square, neutralize the pelvis. Maybe even rest your right hand on your right thigh. Externally rotate the left hip open. Into length of that leg. Both feet active legs. Breathe deeply. Release the legs straight down. You bring the feet together. And then lift the leg back straight up. Holding reclined leg stretch for another breath or two. Let's add those leg circles here since we missed them on the way in. 1, 2, 3 in each direction. And this one will take us right into resting the foot on top of the thigh and coming into our reclined pigeon. Keep both legs active again by flexing both feet. And cross the legs. Bring the knees and feet together. Release your strap. Hug your knees to your chest. Straighten the legs up to the sky. Flex the feet. Rotate the ankles. Bring the arms up to the sky. Good. This is pose of the bear. So we're letting all the energy from the arms and legs drain back into the torso before we go to our final relaxation. Bend the elbows, let them rest to the floor. Bend the knees and bring the feet parallel to the floor. And slowly release the feet to the floor. And slowly extend the legs. Extend the arms and find the perfect resting pose for you. So I have a nice prop here for underneath my knees I want to bring in. You can bring in what you'd like. If you like a little support. And you're just resting in the space of the new increased circulation we've created to pause and receive. Nothing you feel or do, just pause and receive. Don't even try to breathe. Together. Move the knees towards the chest. Lift your hips away from me and roll your knees towards me as you come into a sideline position. Resting on your side in a field position. You need to move yourself into a seated position. Invited and come into our seated position and prop up the hips if you have something that way. Our shoulders back. And just go into this straight spine. Draw the arms overhead, breathe in. And bring the fingers interlace down. Push the fingers out towards me, stretching the fingers, stretching the tendons of the arms. And then bring the hands in, the hand closest to the window, come on top as we pull the hand in. And straighten that arm out, stretch the wrist. Pull the wrist back. Press the hand forward, pull back on the fingers. Bending at the elbow, bringing the wrist towards the shoulder. Then spin the hand, palms together. Pass the fingers, push up, across, stretching. Up, down, and reach over. Take the wrist and look up. Drop the hand down. Reach the arms behind the back, interlace the fingers over the chest. That's the way. And bring the arms forward, interlace the fingers, bring to the heart, push out. Back into the heart, take the hand on top, push and support. Draw back. Then forward. Up and over. Reaching up, push through, rotate. Breath in, reach up, inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. Palms together, fingers interlace. Okay. Push. Hands towards. Way to go. Good job. Thanks for being here for stretch class this morning. It's wonderful to be in your presence and have you join me for class.
It was good to see you.
Good to see you. You had your private class.
Did I? I lost you for a little bit, but I had to.
Oh no, somebody else is here. Who's here with their puppy? B is here. Hi, B.
I had